Okay, so I am in the middle-ish of an 18-minute video that Mom on the Spectrum put out. Her name is Tay. I'm gonna start at her 8-minute 51-second mark. This is part 2 of responding and reacting to her video, because I'm also on the spectrum. If you haven't looked at any of my other videos about being on the autism spectrum, mental health, stuff like that, by all means, check the channel. And I don't usually say this, but if you want to see more things like that, or more anything that I've posted, go ahead and subscribe. That does help with the videos and with me knowing that more people want to see this stuff. So here we go.
Of what's led me to this meltdown / process it. And it's very important that we do process it, or else all of that frustration and tension and fear, it just keeps building. And I think that's part of what's led me to this meltdown / shutdown, because all these emotions are just like, oh, I don't know what to do.
Yes. There is no, I know everybody deals with this. It's just things building up. Sometimes it explodes in anger. Sometimes it, you know, if you're a squisher, you'll just push it down and deal with it in your own way. But when you're on the autism spectrum, it ends up in a meltdown or a shutdown, or just in a big explosive, like overwhelm, like curled up in a ball crying in a corner type thing. That's happened to me before. That, I mean, it is what it is. And unfortunately, if we aren't able to process things as they come, things start building up on top of each other, and we have no idea what to do with all of that. And that's when we just shut down, and ooh, it's not pretty.
Now that I'm getting some perspective and kind of lining that up with what I'm seeing and reading in the comments, it seems like this is a big topic that a lot of us are struggling with right now. My husband is in education. I was in education for a decade, and I have many close friends who are in education. I don't know where you're at in the world, but here we just started a new school year, and for some reason this year it just feels different. It feels different than original COVID. There's something almost a little heavier about this time around. Something else, I guess, that maybe is going unsaid is, you know, this is the Delta variant, but then what's next? What comes after that? And it's really unnerving. It's really hard as a parent, because we want the best for our kids. And I know for my kids, that means giving them experiences outside of the home where they can receive therapies, where they can receive extracurricular activities, art, music. And that means letting them go out into this world where there's a pandemic. The teachers that I know are saying this year feels harder, it feels different, it feels a little heavier, it's a little more difficult to navigate. When COVID was first here, there was plenty to keep us busy in terms of learning how to alter our schedule, learning how to minimize contact, and now we're kind of settling into a groove where we know how to stay 6 feet away from people, we know to put our mask on before we go in the store. There's less to think about in terms of new things to learn, new things to navigate, and now it's starting to feel more normal, and that really sucks. That's really hard. It's a really isolating and sometimes scary feeling. You know, if nothing else, I think saying it out loud and connecting to other people who feel the same way is one step that we can take towards unity and to feeling less alone. So if you're feeling that way too, I just want to say that I'm completely with you, and I don't have the answers. I don't know how to make it all better. I don't know what the right decisions are for you and your family in terms of education and staying safe and work. I know for...
That's a big deal. Being able to discuss and understand and just let each family make their choices how they need to make their choices. This isn't a cut and dry thing. Every state has their own rules with this. I know in the upper part of our state, it's mandatory to wear masks. We don't have to down here. Our schools are not making people wear masks. They're apparently very lenient on the dress code. Weird. But there are, the classes are basically just kind of trying to pull you forward from what you hopefully learned online last year, because we went completely virtual for classes, and my kids barely passed the M-step testing. We didn't do M-step testing. There's just, yeah, it's finagling what new normal is. And new normal right now is carrying a mask in your purse or your butt pocket or wherever, kind of like chapstick. You have a mask with you because you don't know what stores are going to say you got to wear them or not. So it's very different. And I'm trying to make it as regular as what we're used to as much as possible for our family anyway. We had COVID. I actually got pneumonia from COVID, but yeah, so we have that natural immunity thing going on.
Me, it's affecting my work decisions because I'm applying to new jobs. The other big part of all this is this new routine with the kids is going to be so great. They love it. The teachers are amazing. The educators are wonderful. The programs are going to be just what they need. But I can't help but fear that as soon as we get into a routine, that it's going to be completely thrown off by sickness that we can't control. So it's almost like I sit at home and I'm kind of like waiting for something to fall through. I'm waiting for our routines to be thrown off and have to figure everything out again. As a parent, I just want to say that I'm with you. This is extremely hard. We're going to get through it. I have been reminded over and over again of the resilience of the human spirit through all of this. There's so many good things to celebrate. Mr. Rogers, who's one of my all-time faves, he always said, look for the helpers. There's always people helping. And so if you feel caught up in the mess of all of this and the fear and the uncertainty, look for the people who are helping. If you are able to help yourself in any way, a lot of times that can help us get out of a rut. So if that's donating financially, I know a lot of grocery stores, they have programs where you can buy a bag of food and donate it to a homeless shelter. If you can drive someone to get vaccinated, there's so many creative things you can do to help others. It might even just be dropping off a meal on your neighbor's porch, offering to pick up your neighbor's kids on the way home from school. I realize that all of us are in different situations in terms of what we feel comfortable doing with the virus right now, but you can be creative, and I just want to remind you that there are a lot of people helping, there are a lot of people coming together, and if you're in a rut, see how you can reach out and find ways to help others, even if it's really small, and notice if that makes a difference in how you feel about the whole situation. And then once you find a way to give that feels good, lean into that and give a little bit more. The other thing that's been frustrating to me here in America, I really think that our healthcare here does not reflect the importance of mental health care. And I was really pleasantly surprised this last year during the first round of COVID, a lot of insurance companies were able to cover mental health services at 100%, regardless of what type of plan you had. You better believe I took advantage of it.
Really? Really? They did? No one told me that. I did not know that. If I was able to see my psychologist for free, I would have done that. My Medicare plan covers 80%. So I can't afford to, right now I can't afford to pick up that extra 20%. I don't have a psychologist right now. So I'm on my own to try to use the tools that I've learned from when I did have a psychologist. Because regular counseling doesn't work for people like me. If that's what they're talking about, then if it's regular counseling that they were covering, that's cool. But I doubt that mine was covered. If it was, it sucks that I'm finding out now.
Every single week. I did weekly therapy for like 9 months. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm a huge, huge proponent of therapy.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we get checkups for our physical health all the time, and you'd probably be hard pressed to name another situation that's been as hard to get through as COVID. Some of you...
Oh, yeah. 2 of my kids have taken advantage of having counselors. Very, very much so.
I have walked through terminal illnesses and things like that, and I'm sorry if that's you and that you've had to walk through that. But also this whole experience with COVID, I mean, this has been a devastating experience. And to think that we can navigate that without therapy is just, it's such a great tool. And I want to encourage you that if you do have access to therapy, if you have funds to afford that, check into it. There's online therapy, there's text therapy, there's so many different options available to you. And sometimes just talking through the things that are in your mind and your heart.
I can't just go to anyone. I have to go to someone that I know I'm safe with, someone that mentally safe with, someone that I am okay spilling my guts to. I am okay knowing that they understand because they're a professional. I can't just go up to some counselor, go to any counselor and start talking. So, oh wait, no, I did do a couple group counseling sessions that were free. I didn't talk about anything deep. And most of the time it was just me, and there was this one other guy that was in it. And I didn't really feel comfortable saying anything personal with him in there. I didn't know him. He just gave off a vibe that was kind of like, but it's hard. Not knowing and picking my finger.
It can really alleviate a lot of the stress and a lot of the burden that you're carrying around every day. You might not even realize that you're carrying it. But I hope that we can learn, at least in America, to continue to do things like that, to prioritize mental health care. And in many ways, I hope that soon we might be able to initiate more programs to cover mental health services again, because I feel like it makes a world of difference. It reminds us that we're not alone. There's nothing wrong with us. We're all walking through so much right now. And we're capable of change. We're capable of growth. We're capable of finding goodness in the midst of all of this chaos. Yeah. And it's a good reminder that we're human and that we're not going to do it perfectly, and that we need to give ourselves grace and compassion every step of the way. So let me remind you, regardless of what situation you find yourself in with COVID, whether you're quarantining, whether your kids are in public school, whether you're homeschooling, whether you work from home, whether you work in a hospital, thank you. Are you drinking enough water? If you're on the spectrum, are you allowing yourself to stim and stim frequently, whatever that looks like for you? Are you going to bed at a decent hour? Are you saying
allowing yourself to stim? I'm getting better at that. I don't always know. Ooh, that didn't feel good. I know I don't like that. I don't always know what it means to stim. I'm getting used to this myself, knowing that this is why I'm different. I was diagnosed 2 years ago. So, just before COVID hit, I found out that myself and my middle daughter are on the spectrum. But, I have allowed myself to say no if somebody wants to hug me, or if someone asks me if I'm okay. I have allowed myself to be as authentic as possible. I know that's not stimming, but it's helpful for me to know that I'm being me.
No to things that allowing yourself to stim and stim frequently, whatever that looks like for you. Are you going to bed at a decent hour? Are you saying no to things that weigh you down? Are you prioritizing alone time? And all of these things might sound like a lot to manage right now.
the last couple weeks, because it's been back to school time and I've had to like run here, buy this, fill this paper out, go, make phone calls, yada yada, I have stepped back from communicating with people. So, like my best girlfriend that I talk to basically at least once a day to at least say hi or comment on something that happened to me, whatever. I didn't talk to her a lot for at least a week. And she asked if I was doing okay, and I was like, yep. Or I gave her a smiley face and thumbs up or whatever. And if that's what you have to do, that's what you have to do. And if you have a stable relationship with someone and you don't talk to them for a while, it shouldn't be a big deal. So if you have to step back from communication, if you have to step back from, if you have to make it so minimal to where you are just getting up before everyone else to have quiet and coffee. And I made it a priority to get up at 6 o'clock every day because I needed to have a quiet house. I needed to have my time with God, and I needed to journal if necessary. And I have my journal, I have stickers. My mother-in-law would bring me magazines left over from her where she works, and I wouldn't even look at the articles. I would just go through and cut out little clippings, and I journaled with them. I just tape them in there, and some days there are no words. Some days there are just doodles. Some days I am writing like crazy. Some days it's nothing. Some days I don't write anything in my journal. Some it's whatever. I allow myself to use, I've been using my candles more. I've been changing my decorations because I like to decorate. I like to have visuals that reflect my internal feelings. I have been doing things outside. I've been working on my garden. I've been working with my rocks, making things. I've been just allowing myself to do whatever I need to do to thrive and feel comfortable. And it's a lot to manage, but sometimes simplifying is the best thing to do.
But pick one thing today. If that's drinking enough water, then do it. Commit to that. Put up reminders around your house. Set an alarm on your phone. Drink water. Aim to drink half of your body weight in ounces of water. I don't know what that converts to across the pond. You're important. You're worth taking care of. The world needs you in it. So make sure that you're prioritizing self-care. I shared this in the comments.
The world needs you in it. Yes, it does. You're important.
With Jared. I read a lot of stuff like Eckhart Tolle and Deepak Chopra. I love them. Pema Chodron. I believe it was Eckhart that was sharing a parable from a monk, and one of his students was saying, please, I'll do anything. Please, please tell me what I need to do to be happy. Tell me what I need to do to be enlightened. And the monk said, you're not going to like my answer. And he said, no, please, I'll do anything. Tell me. And the monk said, you're not going to like my answer. And he said, please, whatever it is, just tell me. And the monk said, attention. And the student said, okay, who else can I talk to about this? But again, the monk said, pay attention to what is in front of you. Pay attention to one thing at a time. So as hard as that might be to do, as hard as that advice might be to follow, the world can be kind of a scary place, and our inclination can be to try to control so much of what is uncontrollable. But there's one thing in front of you right now, whether that's getting up to get a glass.
I need my journal. And my stickers. Yesterday, I filled that up. Ooh. Today. See? From a magazine. Pay attention to what is in front of you. Pay attention to one thing at a time. Have I used all my arrows? Thought bubbles. If you're gonna be somebody, if you're gonna go somewhere, you better wake up and pay attention. Things remind me of music. Here we go. Pay attention.
To water, or finishing that work assignment, or making the decision to switch up your childcare this year. That one thing that's in front of you, can you pay attention to that one thing at a time? Make sure that you're breathing. A lot of times I hold my breath when I'm stressed. I don't even realize that I'm doing it. Actually, let's do it right now if you're watching this video.
I do that. And I literally talked to one of my doctors about that. I hold my breath and I don't realize I'm doing it. I thought I wasn't breathing.
We're gonna take 5 breaths together. That's all we're gonna do. Okay, we're gonna breathe in for 3 and out for 5. So I'm not gonna try to count because then I can't do it. So in for 3, out for 5. We're gonna do that for 5 breaths, okay? I'm gonna uncross my legs. You're just gonna sit comfortably in your chair or on the floor and keep your spine tall. And here we go, 5 breaths, in for 3, out for 5. Wherever you're at, you can finish up on your own time. Don't try to be on my breathing rhythm. You've got your own. In the midst of chaos, when it feels like we can't control anything, we can control our breath. That might not seem like a lot, but if you practice controlling your breath, mindful breathing, I think you'll be surprised what it does for your mental health, what it does for your ability to reclaim control of a lot, but rhythm. You've got your own. In the midst of chaos, when it feels like we can't control anything, we can control our breath. Might not seem like a lot, but if you practice controlling your breath, mindful breathing, I think you'll be surprised what it does for your mental health, what it does for your ability to reclaim control of small things in front of you, and to remind yourself that we can get through this one thing at a time. Thank you so much. You'll have a great day, and I will see you in the next video.